Hi everyone, this is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. And for those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your support. This is the daily forecast for the greater collective. Therefore, it is a broad spectrum reading intended for those who see it. It is originally created for Saturday, Wait, am I off? Not the 27th. Today's the 25th. So, sorry, it's for Friday the 26th. I don't even know what day it is. Okay. Friday the 26th. But sorry, that just threw me because I just looked at the calendar and it threw me off. All right, so it is for tomorrow, Friday the 26th. It is also a timeless reading in the sense that if you're seeing it on a date that's different than February 26th, that's okay. You might be needing the message when you're seeing it versus when it was originally created for. So trusting in that, you can continue to watch the video and see if it actually does apply to a situation in your life, or if it does help validate or give guidance to something you might be, working with or dealing with or facing. If it doesn't make sense or it doesn't seem to relate to anything going on in your life, it doesn't mean anything's wrong or you're not doing anything wrong, nothing is broken or anything like that. You just might be working on something different than the majority of viewers who will see this video, and that's completely fine. If you do, if this video does resonate with you, if it does make sense, if it applies to a certain area or aspect of your life, and it resonates with you, you have to, take what you need and sort of leave the rest kind of thing. But also any decisions that you make in your personal life after having watched any of my videos, know that those decisions are solely your responsibility, okay? And never take anything that I say over that of a professional in their field, like a doctor, a lawyer, or like a therapist, right? You always want to listen to them, what they have to say and their advice first and foremost over anything I may say. And then the last thing that I always say is always when making your decisions, use your highest intelligence and intuition when doing so, right? So always trust what you've got going on versus what I may say or any other reader on YouTube. All right, so let's see what's going on here. What do the cards want us to know today? Let me put on my glasses too. Sorry, I'm still a little bit out of it, guys. I swear I'm just this has not been my week. All right, so let's see. Okay, I'll take it. We've got the Ace of Wands as our signifying card for the day. So aces to me are always about sort of unexpected new beginnings. They can be extremely inspirational. They can have a lot of power. They can kind of come out of nowhere. The Ace of Wands would definitely represent that. Wands being that element of fire and the spirit. There could be certainly, Wands also is about taking action, right? Moving towards something that we desire or something that we, that we want. It can have a little bit of an intensity to it. Wands can, to me personally, I feel like wands can sometimes represent water. Cups, and the cup suit represents the emotions, right? But to me, sometimes wands can be about passion, sometimes anger, things like that, right? So to me, there's an intensity. Hold on one second. Let's not do that right now while I'm filming, okay? There's an intensity with this card. I feel like there could be a variable between different viewers. Some of you might feel on edge and a little bit angry. Some of you might feel passionate or like a drive, a willingness to move forward. Some of you might feel very energized on this day. That's the orange color that we see in this wand and in the sort of flames that are coming out of it. To me, this looks like an overabundance of energy. But then for some of you, it may be more about this red sort of lightninged background where it's kind of aggression or feeling like you're banging into things in ways that are unexpected. what I do think is that whatever your emotion may be, or whatever you're feeling, whatever you're dealing with, and however you're dealing with it, it's going to teach you something. It's going to bring about a new beginning or a new way of relating to something. You might be able to take action. Certainly, this card would indicate that you would be able to take action on it. The action that you choose to take, I think, will be determined in our clarifiers, right? Um, but also, I think that from the action that's taken, the ace indicates that we're going to get to see a better or more truer side of ourselves, right? So what I mean by this, maybe I'm taking the long way around in describing this, but what I mean by this is if some of you today are a little bit more, say, irritable, right? Because that's the red that I see in the background, right? Say that's more of your reading today versus the energizedness of the orange in the wand. Say you're more irritable with what's going on around you. That irritability and how you react is going to show you sort of lessons and open doors to new beginnings or new ways of relating to things that will actually be for your ultimate benefit, even though it may not feel like it in the moment, right? But if some of you are on the opposite side of the spectrum, like say you just feel really energized, you feel driven, you feel excited about taking on new projects, then you're going to feel more of the orange that we see in that wand, right? And that's going to show you aspects of yourself and your capabilities and what you can get done and accomplished through your own drive, your own will, your own passion that you'll learn about or that you'll be able to better appreciate and understand. So today, to me, the focus should be on ourselves, wherever we're at, right? Acceptance for wherever we're at is key. Whether we're, fighting against our situation, right, which would be that red background, or whether we're energized by our situation, which would be the sort of orange of that wand. Ultimately, Ace of Wands indicates new doors opening, new possibilities, opportunities for making forward movement in whatever it is that we do want. Let me look, because we're now towards the end of the week, so that would be Ace of Discs we had in the midweek. So this would be the Six of Discs, which that is actually a really good card. And we have, wait, no, that can't be right. Oh, it would be 4 cards, right? So it would be the Strength card, the Ace of Discs, which we saw twice this week, the Hierophant, and the Seven of Swords. So that Strength card underneath this, right? And that Strength card is always so weird with this deck. It's that card that's called Lust. But again, we've got that fire energy. We've got that major arcana drive behind this. So this should be a day of action. I would be mindful about how we're taking that action, though. That would be my only worry. I don't necessarily like the aggravation that I feel. And that's not necessarily a traditional Ace of Wands meaning, but I'm feeling it as I'm looking at this card. So some of you might find yourself a little bit on edge or aggravated. I don't know if that's all of you, but I do feel like some of you might. So just be mindful of that. Allow yourself to be where you're at, though, definitely. And that Strength card underneath, the Ace of Discs card, the Hierophant, all of those cards indicate that and remember, too, there's that Seven of Swords that ended the reading, which we could be dealing with some sort of betrayal, some sort of lies, something that we can't maybe control or fully understand because it's being kept from us. That might be some of the frustration I see in the red background of this card for some of you. So remember, though, we have all of those beautiful cards before it. As far as the Strength card, the Ace of Discs, and the Hierophant, which sets us up for being able to accomplish or achieve or get beyond whatever might be frustrating us. And again, I am going to say this too, because I think it ties back in. This grounding stone this week of honor, doing the right thing for the right reasons. So being mindful of how we react to situations right now could either open doors for us or certainly teach us new things about ourselves. Ultimately, aces are good tidings or positive cards. So I think even if we react poorly in a situation, or we are reactive in a situation, it's not necessarily a bad thing. We will end up learning about ourselves. It may not be the easiest, most positive route to go, but there's something to be had here. There's something to be learned here. So paying attention and taking the action is going to be key. All right, so let's see what's going on with the clarifiers. So we have the Six of Swords. This card is interesting to me because here it's called science, right? And to me, I definitely feel a balance. I love the cross in the center. To me, it feels very like sort of solemn. And even though there's all of these sort of lines running through the card and it feels like it wants to be chaotic, amidst the chaos, there is this sort of balance of this kind of wheel energy that the swords create around the center of this cross, which to me sort of is like a spiritual centeredness, right? So the Six of Swords traditionally is kind of like the moving toward calmer waters card. It's about sort of the settling of the mind, moving towards better thinking, less fighting, less aggression. But like I said, with all of the cuts in this card or all of the lines through it and sort of the chaos, some of us might need to sort through the chaos to find our center and then to operate from that center. The six and then the aspect of the word science, right, which is only in this deck, another difference about this deck, would be like maybe thinking things through a little bit more analytically versus what's the word? I guess maybe passionately, because when I'm looking at that Ace of Wands, to me, there's like a big boom there, whether it's through aggression or aggravation or passion, drive. There's just this big like, I hope I'm making sense. It's just way in your face, if that makes sense. It's very obvious. However, you're going to be acting, feeling. This Six of Swords to me feels like paring that back, sorting through the details, sorting through the, maybe the opinions and thoughts of your own or others around you, and finding your own balance in there. Will it be easy? To me, it feels like there's a little bit of work involved because all of these slashes all along the card, right? And it's interesting because yesterday's reading, we had the universe and that Wheel of Fortune, right? And I said to yesterday's reading that both of them felt like they were spinning to me. And it's interesting that we have this circle amidst these swords, right? Which feels very balanced to me. And it sort of mimics what we saw in those two major arcana clarifier cards. This is about us. I know this is going to sound crazy, but I feel like this is about us putting together our own Wheel of Fortune through our thoughts. I hope that makes sense to you guys. What I mean by that is the Wheel of Fortune that we saw presented to us yesterday. This is us beginning to start to take action or set up our thoughts and our minds to a more centered, analytical, maybe even scientific way of thinking, so that we can clear the path, so that the Wheel of Fortune can begin to spin us towards our own positive outcomes, our own benefit, right? But we may have to clear away some of the sort of chaos, outside thoughts, whatever it might be, that we need to get rid of so that we can get clearer on what it is that we want. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. All right. So the next card, oh, hello. It's our friend the Lust card. So this was the card that was the signifier for the end of the week, right? And so we see this doubled down. I was just discussing this with somebody yesterday about this deck and some of the meanings and how they change. Like, this is not necessarily a science card, but it does indicate, I can see where it corroborates to a traditional tarot meaning as far as finding balance in a more peaceful mind amidst everything that's going on. This, to me, this card does not represent the strength card. The only thing that I see that correlates is the woman with the lion. But to me, it almost feels like passionate and weird. It's not as caring as I normally see the strength card. But I will say that this corroborates with the red energy, with the lust aspect of it. Speaks to that desire that we see in the Ace of Wands. We have the strength to accomplish what it is we need to. I do like that we have wands. We have the strength card, which is fire, Leo energy, and the Six of Swords. All of those are very complementary with one another. They're fire and air. So we do have that working in our favor. But it feels like, as I look at these, and even here when I'm looking at this design here, this feels a little bit chaotic too. All of these sort of flames rising up off of it. We might have, say, conflicting opinions or conflicting ideas of where we want to go or how we want to go about it. Today might be the day to sort of settle all of that or try and find the clearer path, try to find the answer that we need so that we can move forward in an honorable way. Remember some of those words that we saw this week about truth and wisdom, and even remember, it's sort of like today might be the day that we need to find that clarity within ourselves. And then this is the last clarifier, which is the 9 of discs. 9s usually represent personal completion, cycles of personal completion. This is called gain. So, and discs would be about money, jobs, things of that nature. When I see this Ace of Wands at the beginning, and I see the 9 of discs at the end, and I see the balancing of sort of the mind and the desire and the strength card in there, and I look at kind of what was going on or being predicted at the beginning of the week in the Sunday reading, it does feel like we are moving forward successfully, but we have a little bit of work to do. We have a little bit of, mental housekeeping we might need to do, and we need to sort of set our goals and ground in them and be practical about them. That's also, we have that Ace of Discs too that was in the Sunday reading as one of the clarifiers, so that ties into this 9 of discs that we're seeing here. There is this sort of forward momentum that we're trying to produce financially or within maybe our work sector, but we have to kind of work our way through some of the drama maybe, or and the reason why I say that is I see that in that 6 of Swords. I kind of get that sense of chaos a little bit in that Ace of Wands, but also we have that 7 of Swords that was indicated, and that's the betrayal, liar, cheater, stealer card. So we do have some aspect, situation, or person around us that is still kind of maybe not standing in our way, but is an issue, right? And so we need to begin now to start to clear away that issue so that we can move forward in a productive, grounded, practical way that brings about our own abundance. And I see that, like I said, in that Ace of Discs, and also in this 9 of discs, or 9 of Pentacles. Let's go to the grounding stone. Okay. Interesting too, as I was looking for the grounding stone, and I was thinking about this strength lust card, right? It's such a strange card for me. I don't know why I'm not really resonating fully with it, but I had this sort of flash in my mind that be careful how we're reacting. It's sort of the passion that I see in this Ace of Wands, right? That strength lust aspect, it has it almost feels like a double-edged sword to me, in the sense that some of us might be dealing with somebody that we care very deeply about. That might be our 7 of Swords moment, where we're struggling with how we maybe once felt for them, or and how we feel about them now, and how we react to them is maybe key, right? Because that lust aspect to this card feels like it has the possibility of not working in our favor, right? If we act out of, there's sort of that phrase that, it's like when we're passionate about something, we can react poorly, like we'll fight for it, right? Or we might fight with somebody because we care about them. It's normally like when we don't have anything left to say is when we're really done. Does that make sense? And so when this, when we no longer care, it's like we're not even willing to put up the fight, right? We're not even really willing to argue it. To me, this strength/lust card says to me that depending on how we interact with whatever this situation may be for us, whatever this struggle is for us, there is this possibility with that lust aspect of this card that we could react, from maybe old feelings, old hurts, past harms, that sort of thing, that causes us to maybe overreact or react in a way that is not beneficial for us. So keeping that in mind, we don't want to do that. And I think that's what we're trying to work towards or keep focus on during this day with all of these cards going on. Now, that being said, the grounding stone that I pulled out, and I believe this is malachite or it's aventurine, but either way, it takes me to the heart chakra, the 4th chakra, because it's a green stone. But the word is namaste, which is a greeting that stands for the God in me honors the God in you. And I like that this is here because, again, there's that word, the God in me honors the God in you, right? So there's that word again that underpins this on the grounding stone from this week, which is honor. It's about coming from our fourth chakra, coming from love, placing ourselves first, and doing so with an idea of compassion for ourselves first and foremost, and then those around us, even if whether or not they maybe do or don't deserve it, right? If we're not placing that compassion or giving that compassion freely, that's when we're acting out from this strength card, from that place of lust, where we might be acting out in violence or arguing or being, passionate in a way that's kind of coming out sideways. Does that make sense? We don't want to do that today. We want to ground in this idea of taking this more spiritual higher road, clearing our mind, operating from our heart, placing ourselves first. We see that with the Ace of Wands, and our desires first, but also being mindful and careful of our thoughts and how we react to certain situations. All of this is to bring us to a state of a better life, or more sort of, I don't want to say just material abundance, because this isn't just about money, but I feel like that Nine of Pentacles and the Ace of Discs, or the Ace of Pentacles that we see underpinning this, is about that sort of settling of one's life materially, right? So that could mean our relationships, our finances, those sort of things, but we have to kind of work our way through some of maybe the muck and mire, and not sink to that level. That's what this Namaste stone and the Honor stone is saying to me, is that it's like, we don't want to sink and get caught up in the more lust aspects and react in that way. Does that make sense? Right? Versus rising up, going from a more higher, more spiritual place, and operating from the strength aspect of that card. I hope that makes sense, guys. That is your forecast for the day. Please hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed it, and hit subscribe if you feel like joining us every morning. We would love to have you. And I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow to see how this may transform or change. Please leave a comment and let me know if this makes sense for you, and I will see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.